This is the finals, a new-ish shooter from Embark Studios. In a typical modern shooter, there are certain persisting elements. You've got some of the same modes, the characters most likely have distinctive abilities, and the maps have specific layouts. The finals takes most of this and throws it right out the window. Sure, it's got game modes. Yeah, there's different abilities, and obviously they have different maps, but most of it is not like we're used to. You see, the finals is not your typical shooter. Embark themselves have coined the term dynamism shooter to describe the game, meaning that every round is constantly changing and no two fights are truly the same. And in my opinion, it actually feels a bit like a sandbox disguised as a shooter. You see, one of the game's main selling points is how different it plays, with destruction being a big part of that. Now, destruction isn't something new, but the way it's implemented is unlike anything a shooter has done before. Battlefield 6, for example, has some pretty cool destruction. Some would argue that it's underutilized, which may be true, but either way, it's mostly there for spectacle. It can open up the map in new ways, but it doesn't make any significant changes that will warrant changing strategies. The finals, on the other hand, implements destruction as a core part of its design. It's not just a novelty, it's a tool. You use destruction to shape the map to your will. Is a wall in the way? Blow it up. Are these stairs too convenient for the other teams to use? Remove them. And since destruction is so pivotal to the gameplay, maps are designed around it.
Alright, watch this.
Well, shit. Usually maps are tightly designed with specific angles, positions, flanks, etc. for the players to learn and use. Maybe in a hero shooter, a certain choke is good with a specific team comp and there's a certain counter that could help break them up. Or maybe there are flanks designed with some specific characters in mind. The point is, there's consistent variables in every match, and once you learn the characters and maps, you'll have gotten a good understanding of what to do in pretty much any scenario. This heavily rewards memorization and knowledge. And of course, any shooter is gonna require some good reflexes and quick thinking. But at a certain point, you're not really reacting, you're just remembering. You learn all these angles and corners and positions, and when you think about it like this, it begins to sound a bit like chess, calculating every outcome. I don't always wanna play chess. Sometimes I just want to blow things up. This is where the finals goes rogue. If you're up against an annoying team comp that's heavily defending a point, what do? You don't necessarily counter by switching heroes. In fact, in ranked, you can only pick one loadout with one weapon in it. Instead, you improvise. The game's main mode is called cash out, where you take a money vault, put it into a cash box, and wait for it to cash out. In the meantime, other teams will try to steal the cash box, so you have to defend it. Now, since the maps are mostly fully destructible, it means you can make your own flanks from every single side. The objective isn't even stationary, so you can try to move it if you want. If you're stuck, all you have to do is simply blow up the floor or wall, and now the other team has to reorganize. In the unluckiest scenarios, you'll be quickly surrounded by multiple teams and you're pretty much screwed. And while that may sound unfair, you can just do the same to them when you respawn. Cause you're not being tested on your knowledge of the game. Every situation, no matter what it is, tests your ability to adapt and improvise. As much as a typical shooter rewards knowledge and memorization, the final rewards adaptability and quick thinking. And surprisingly, it feels less punishing this way. Let's say you make a huge fumble and cause your team to lose a push. In any other game, you'd most likely get yelled at. But in the finals, most of the time it barely feels like your fault. Again, you do need good reflexes, some game sense and just general gaming skills. But with so many different ways to go about pushing the objective, who can really fault you if you don't predict the outcome?
Yeah. Oh fuck!
So instead of being yelled at for not switching to a Reinhardt counter, you can instead laugh it off because what the fuck just happened? And this is what really makes it click for me. Initially, I was turned off by the game's design and its gunplay, but that's before I knew what kind of game it was. Once I realized it didn't expect me to learn all the ins and outs of every single piece of equipment, And rather than I learned to improvise, I couldn't stop playing. In a lot of ways, it feels more casual, despite how chaotic it often is. But that doesn't mean it's any less demanding. It just hones some other skills than you'd normally expect, and it might honestly even help me improve in other shooters. So really, it's almost more welcoming to newer players than most shooters. Obviously there's things to learn, but once you realize that knowledge isn't the end all be all of the game, that's when you really start playing.